When studying science, most students don't realize that they are learning an entirely new language. There is no long-term benefit to memorizing facts simply for the purpose of passing a test. Although some memorization is always required in study, understanding the words used in a subject is the key that leads to success in a subject and in life. Everything has a very specific name in science, and although it may seem like a thingamajig or whatchamacallit now, learning the scientific terminology will clarify any science that you may be studying. The system of names used in science is called nomenclature. It is derived from the Latin word nomenclature, which literally meant the calling of names, and was once the title for a person who announced arriving visitors. How do we get from basic lay terminology to understanding and being able to use scientific terminology? Common language is not specific enough. Nomenclature is the key that opens that door. Here is an example. This is a mouth. In Greek, it is called a stoma. In Latin, it is called an os or oris. Scientific nomenclature is based on Greek or Latin root words, sometimes combining both Greek and Latin. Latin may be dead, but it's not extinct. Latin was a technically precise language, which made it too cumbersome to use in everyday conversations. It evolved into Italian, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Romanian, to name a few, and 65% of English words have Latin roots. Because of its precision, Latin is used for scientific terminology along with Greek. By combining a root word with a prefix and/or suffix, we can give very precise descriptions. The suffix itis means inflammation. Therefore, stomatitis would mean inflammation of the mouth. Other examples are sinusitis, inflammation of the sinus, gingivitis, inflammation of the gingiva, bronchitis, inflammation of the bronchi, etc. Sometimes you can combine roots, prefixes, and suffixes in different ways to say the same thing. The prefix per means through. Therefore, per os means through the mouth. You can also take the suffix ly, which can describe how something is done, and combine it with ora for orally, which also means through the mouth. Therefore, per os and orally mean the same thing. The word anatomy means the parts that living things are made of. The mouth is made up of teeth, the roof of the mouth, tonsils, a tongue, gums, lips, to name a few. Each of these structures has its own scientific name or nomenclature. Any word that contains these roots refers to that part of the mouth. For example, teeth, dentis, roof of mouth, palatum, tonsils, tonsillae, tongue, lingua, gums, gingiva, lips, labium. Therefore, a dentist is someone who has to do with teeth. Gingivitis is inflammation of the gingiva, etc. Students commonly make the mistake of confusing one term for another because they look similar. For example, leukocyte and lymphocyte both start with L and end in cyte. To differentiate, a student needs to look up the word in a dictionary. The similar portion, cyte, means cell. So we know we are talking about cells here. Now we want to look up the other portion of the word to tell them apart. Leuko means white. For Greek, leukos, which is white. And lymph is a clear liquid that has white blood cells in it. For Latin, lympha, which means water. Therefore, leukocyte is a white cell, whereas lymphocyte is a cell found in lymph. In anatomy, the term leukocyte is used to refer to any white blood cell, while lymphocyte in anatomy is used for a specific type of white blood cell which is found in lymph. Another common student error is failure to recognize alternate forms of a term. Intercalated disc versus cardiac disc. These two terms have the word disc in common. A disc is a thin, flat, circular object, from Latin discus. An intercalated disc separates cells that are next to each other in the heart muscle. Latin intercalare, which means insert. And a cardiac disc is having to do with the heart, from Latin cardiacus, which means heart. Therefore, both of these terms describe the same thing since there are no other discs in the heart. Long scientific words can easily be understood by breaking them down into parts. For example, the term stomatognathing system. The first portion, stoma, means mouth, from Greek. Gnath means jaw, also from Greek. System comes from systema in Latin, which means different parts that work together to achieve a certain function. Therefore, the stomatognathing system simply means the mouth and jaw working together in creating speech, eating, chewing, and other related activities. It really is that simple. As Albert Einstein said, most of the fundamental ideas of science are essentially simple and may, as a rule, be expressed in a language comprehensible to everyone.
Nomenclature is presented by Dr. Adelia Marshall. Dr. Marshall has been involved in dentistry since 1975, first as a surgical dental assistant prior to attending the University of Florida College of Dentistry, then served as a dentist in the U.S. Navy on both active and reserve duties. She was a general dentist in private practice and group practice until she came to teach at PHSC's dental program. She has taught student-centered classes for dentists, both lecture and hands-on, from Spain to Japan for over 30 years.